Hey everyone, this is VSG Steve, and this is my week 31 post update for those of people who are just joining us. Thanks for joining us. I had VSG surgery back in June 28th, 2016, and just giving you a bit of an update. It's good to be back. I haven't had a chance to do any videos for a couple of weeks, so I'll explain pretty much what's been going on. So I think last time I was with you guys, I had just done my first triathlon the day before, and been leading up to that race for quite a while. So it was quite an achievement to get there, and I think I did just a quick video just before we went away. So since that has happened, I think my weight at that stage was 103.4 kilos, and now my weight is 102.3, and I think it's about 2.5-3 weeks ago. So I've been fluctuating down a little bit, and I have seen a little bit lower than that, but I always try and stay with my my weekly updates. So, and it was actually quite I didn't weigh myself for 2 weeks because we were away in the caravan down at Lakes Entrance, and I didn't have a scale, so I thought, look, I'm just not going to worry. And I actually tried to focus on just eating the right stuff, but not actually being as forceful in the sense of recording my food and things like that. So, but I was doing a lot of exercise. So in the last couple of weeks, I've just been trying to do a bit of a kind of look at my stats and what I've been doing and things like that. So since I've done my last update, which I've ran over 38.2 kilometres. I've done 134 kilometres in riding, and I've swam over nearly 8 kilometres, 7.75. And probably some of the highlights my highlights in those was I did a run to Monday night, which was three days ago, which was a 12 kilometre run. So I'm starting to get over that 10 kilometre run. I actually calmed down my kilometres a little bit while I was away. But now I'm starting to build them back up. I ride with the local triathlon club, which I've been talking about trying to get back into for a while, and did it on Australia Day, which was 26th of January. They're a lot of their training sessions they send out on Facebook, and they say, who wants to do a ride? And on the couple of days before Australia Day, I did a swim with them, started a swimming training, and I swam 2.4 kilometres. So that was over the period that I haven't done a video. I've actually increased my swimming a lot. So knowing that when I looked at my statistics after the triathlon, my swimming was probably the thing that I needed to do some more work on. So I was trying to swim when I was away every second day. And did quite a lot of kilometres on the swim. So, and also doing a lot of kicking drills and things like that. Then when we came back, I did a swim session with the triathlon club, and we did 2.4 kilometres. So that was a fair achievement for me. That was the furthest I've swum. And a couple of days before that, I'd actually done a 2 kilometre swim, which was the furthest I'd done at that stage. Then on Australia Day, they decided to announce that they were going to do a bike ride. A couple of them were going to do a bike ride, and end up meeting in Frankston, which is on the outskirts of Melbourne, and we rode down to Sorrento. So the Sorrento is 50 k's from Frankston to Sorrento. And then rode back. My plan was originally that was always going to be a 100k ride, but my plan was actually to get to probably about 25 k's into the ride and say, look, see you later guys, I'm going to turn back and ride back. It was actually really interesting. It was also the first time I'd actually ridden with a large group. So we had 14 people in the ride. And if anyone's ever done a bit of riding by themselves, and I know Pete Rocks does a lot of riding, and there's a number of other VSG people who have done, or weight loss surgery people who do some cycling. When you're riding by yourself, it's fun, but when you're riding as a group and you start to get the group dynamics, it's a really great experience, and I really recommend anyone who's thinking about getting into cycling, try and get into a group with a couple other cyclists who are about your same standard, or if you've got a couple of people that are better than you, it's even better. Because when you're riding in that kind of group, you end up feeling like you're on a train and you're just flying along with everyone. Anyway, we got to about 35 kilometres. We were riding along, I was really enjoying it, and then I looked at my watch and I was up to 35, 40 kilometres, and I'm going, wow, all right, I think I might be able to just keep going and get to the 50 kilometre mark. So we rode all the way to Sorrento. Then we stopped, had a coffee, had a quick snack, and then about 10 minutes later we started riding back. So all up, it was about a 4.5, 5 hour ride, and I rode 100 kilometres. So I was absolutely, completely stoked to get to those points. That's the furthest I've ever ridden, full stop. So for people who have been on, who are just new to my journey, I did do some triathlons about 10 years ago, and leading up to about 6 years ago, and I was starting to get some figures in the sense of there. But the furthest I ever ran at that stage was I ran 15 kilometres, and I'm getting very close to that now, being that I ran 12 the other night. The furthest I think I ever cycled was about 60 kilometres, and now I've blown that out of the water. And the furthest I think I ever swam was about a kilometre and a half, and I'm blowing that out of the water now. I'm now aiming for an Olympic triathlon, which is on the end of March, which is a K.5 swim, 40k ride, and a 10k run. So, and my long-term game, if I'm going to see how I go with the Olympic, but my long-term goal will be to do a half Ironman, maybe later in the year. There's a half Ironman that's in October, and I'll aim for that. So, which I think it's a 1.8 kilometre swim, 90 kilometre ride, and a 21 kilometre run. So I've still got the triathlon season runs in the summer period. So the Olympic that I'm doing is in the end of March. So that's getting to the end of the season. And then the season will start back up in about October, November. So I'm aiming for that. And I'm looking at doing some runs and rides in the off season, so to get some more kilometres under my legs, and but you're really enjoying to get back into it. The bit of the VSG, a bit of a NSG with my triathlon stuff. I had some gear that I bought when I was running with the triathlon club 6 years ago, and I had some tops and some shorts and all sorts of things, and I haven't been able to wear any of that kind of stuff. So when we went out on the ride on Australia, I put some of that stuff back. I've been slowly putting back some of that stuff back on for my training sessions, and I actually put on the cycle shorts, and the cycle shorts are actually too loose for me. So they're fine around the waist, but with cycle shorts you actually want them pretty slimline, and they're starting to look a bit baggy. So anyway, this is what happens with this, and so there's been lots of things going on with me. While we were away, I think I've already mentioned that I spent a lot of time concentrating on my swimming. So every second day I was swimming, and then on the off days I was actually doing trying to do some small runs. And we were camping with my brother, which is my brother's. He's always played a lot of Aussie rules football and been a bit fitter than I am, and we were doing some running with him, and which was fantastic to run with someone else. I think he was feeling a bit jealous because the first run we did, I was actually running. I ran off him and kept running, and we got to, I think we did a 5k run, and I got to about 4k, and I said, look, I'm gonna push it a bit harder here, and he goes, yep, off you go. So it was pretty. He's always been a lot fitter than I am, so it was pretty cool to be in that environment. And then also doing a lot of cycling with my kids. So one of the things that where our caravan park was, it was about 2.5, 3 k's out of town, and and my two sons, we actually Santa gave them bikes for Christmas, and we took them out and took them down the beach, because we knew we were going down the lake, so they were going to be doing lots of cycling. did a lot of teaching, working on them to be confident in the bikes after a couple of days, and then bang, they were all off. And we were doing rides into town most days, which was about a 2.5, 3K ride. And then I also got my 5-year-old son. He wanted to go for a ride one day where we rode all the way to the other end of town, which was about a 5K ride to there, and then we rode all the way back. And when I was spending a lot of time, so we spent a lot of time riding our bikes, and so I didn't do any really training rides with him, but I was actually on my bike probably a number of times a day, so it was pretty cool to be doing that. And one of the other VSGs that actually happened while I was down there, when I was reflecting on where I am and what was going on, when I was growing up, I spent a lot of time working on kids' camps and working on summer camps in the States and things like that. And then as I got to the end of my camping career, probably about 15 years ago, started not having as much energy to be going with the kids and things like that. And when I started having kids, we started having kids like 6-7 years ago. I never had the energy that I had when I used to do kids camps, and I never really reflected on that. It was but I was a bit kind of ashamed that I'd spent so much time working with so many different kids and didn't have the energy to work with and probably do the same sort of activities I was doing with my own kids. But now, because of the weight loss, I've actually been able to really get out there and keep doing all these activities and get out and doing those things. So it's a really kind of something that I didn't even really think about. But yeah, it was pretty moving when I started reflecting on that. So one final thing I wanted to mention was there's a couple of other. I've been having a bit of conversation with another YouTuber who's had weight loss surgery, Al, who's doing triathlons also. We were chatting over on while I was away, saying I'm really keen to try and work out how we can support other people to actually get into triathlons or get into some more fitness goals and things like that. My biggest thing with my surgery has always been that, and even when I was losing weight outside of surgery, has always been to try and find fitness goals that I can focus on. And I've said this in my videos in the past. My goals with my surgery is I've never had a weight loss goal. I've talked, and I think there's a couple of videos I talked about weight loss goals earlier in the piece, but I never actually sat down and did a weight loss goal with my surgeon. But my goals has always been in fitness stuff. So one of my goals was always to get back into triathlons, which I've achieved that. Now I've set the goal of actually trying to do the Olympic triathlon, and my next goal after that, triathlon wise, will be trying to do trying to do the half marathon later in the year. And then throwing in some of the other goals in there will be in cycling goals, which I've now achieved that 100 kilometres. Set some running goals, so wanting to aim to do some half marathons and do a full marathon, but also looking at those kind of fitness goals, focusing on that. And that's the way I think I've had so much success. I've had success, or I feel like I'm having success. I wouldn't say my journey's over, but I just think that's why I've been able to achieve some of those kind of things. So, and just chatting to Al about this, and she's felt the same way, of being able to set those kind of, want to do this kind of race, or want to do that kind of race. And we were thinking of setting up a Facebook group where people can actually swap their stories, swap tips, give everyone a bit of support each other. So if you be keen, and we don't want it to just be a triathlon group, because we know some people don't want to do triathlons. They've got other issues in the sense of they can't run because of their knees have done it or things like that. But it might also be trying to set some fitness goals for yourself. So, and we're just wondering if you are interested in doing this, in getting being involved in something like this, please let me know. Please write a comment down the bottom of in my comments area, and while you're there, make sure you actually go and check out Al's journey in her videos. She's a really inspiring kind of person in what they've actually done. So So maybe have a think about it if you wanted to set, if you're wanting to look at those. It might be that you want to set might want to do a 5k run or a 5k walk, because I know I know a couple of people have just done 5k runs, and Esther, I know you just did a 5k walk, which was a fantastic achievement. I think the first time you ever do a 5k walk or a 5k run is probably one of the highlights of what you do with your journey, because I reckon going from that couch to that 5Ks is probably one of the biggest achievements you can do. But then you can start building on those kind of things further. So we're really keen to actually get involved. Please let me know and go from there. So, all right, guys. Hopefully be back in the next week or so to do another update. But I'm looking forward to chatting further, and hope you all have a good week. See you soon. Bye.